So if you're thinking of moving to the Portland area, or maybe you've already decided that you're moving here, but you don't want to live in the big city, you're probably thinking of some other options. Well, there's dozens of suburbs to choose from, and obviously not every single town is for everyone. So today I'm actually just going to be comparing one town, and that's my hometown of Newberg, Oregon. So I'm going to be comparing Newberg and Oregon and share why I think Newberg might be a better fit. So in a lot of ways, Newberg and Portland are actually fairly opposite of each other. And just kind of generally, there's the size difference, there's a population difference, there's a political culture difference, there's a neighborhood feel difference. There's a lot of differences between each town. So the kind of person that's going to like Newberg is someone who likes being in a more rural area. So if you're someone who likes wine tasting, biking, hiking, you've got kids and want to meet local families on playgrounds and maybe see them periodically, you might be someone who's a good fit. So if that's you, you feel like you're kind of more of that small town heart, but don't want to be completely rural, then keep watching because I'm going to share why Newberg's a good spot for you here in this video. So first off, where is Newberg? Well, Newberg is about 23 miles southwest of Portland, and depending on the traffic and the time of day, it's about a 40 to 50 minute drive. Next is population. So Portland has about 600,000 people in the city. There's like well over 1 million people all around Portland. But in the city, it's pretty cramped and pretty crowded. Newberg, on the other hand, is a small town. There's only about 25,000 people, a little more. And it's not really crowded at all. There's not bad traffic. You can drive from one side of town to the very opposite end of town in less than 10 minutes, and everything's really close together. So if you're someone who likes that close-knit feel, then Newberg gets a win over Portland. So how about safety? Well, Portland is not safe. You don't have to see many news articles to see that Portland is not an extremely safe place to live. Some people, whether it's just for personal reasons or they've got kids and want safety for their kids, may not want to live in the city of Portland. Newberg, on the other hand, is one of the safest towns in all of Oregon. It is actually one of the most affordable places to live for how safe it is. So if safety is a primary concern for you, then Newberg is a really good choice. I have another video about specific reasons you should move to Newberg, and in that video I go more into depth in several of these topics, one of them being how safe Newberg is. So you can check that out if you think Newberg really might be a good option for you. Well, how about the cost of living? Newberg actually has a slightly higher median wage than Portland does. And funny enough, the housing prices in Portland are actually higher. So from a cost of living perspective, Newberg is actually more affordable than Portland is. So on the housing note, it's kind of interesting because Highway 99 runs from Portland all the way down to Newberg, and there's several towns in between. What's interesting is that many people who maybe work in Portland or are moving from Portland might go to some of those suburb areas like Tigard or Tualatin, and then from there people kind of move on down to Sherwood and Newberg. And people often move to Newberg and then some of the even farther areas because the housing is so much more expensive in the towns like Sherwood, Tualatin, Tigard. So Newberg is actually a pretty good option from an affordable housing and cost of living perspective. I also had mentioned the political culture. Now, obviously, this is kind of a touchy subject because everyone's politics are different. Some people have different preferences. Just from a purely fact perspective, Portland is a very liberal city, and some people love that. But other people don't want to be in a city that has such a liberal culture. And Newberg is much more balanced. It's actually almost a 50-50 split between Republicans and Democrats. But for the type of person who wants a much more balanced political culture, Newberg would be a really good fit. I personally like having things about split down the middle because neither side is going to completely dominate the other side, and everyone has to work on coming to a mutual agreement. Obviously, there's no such thing as a perfect agreement, but having a more balanced political culture can be a benefit for a lot of people. One of the other things I love about Newberg is the community feel. It's actually a very tight-knit community. In fact, whenever I help someone move from Portland to Newberg who is looking for a tight-knit community or neighborhoods where families get to know each other and are close, I say, I think you're gonna fit in just great here. So not only is the community tight-knit, but there's a lot of community involvement in various projects. I actually have a podcast dedicated directly to this. It's linked in the show notes below. It's called the Giving Town Podcast, and I make that for people who want to get to know more about Newberg's nonprofit side. So there's a lot of people who have done a lot to make this town what it is. There's a lot of nonprofits that pour into this town and people that really make these nonprofits work. So I've got a whole separate podcast for that. So the point is that all that creates a close, tight-knit community. And if that's something that you're interested in, Newberg might be a great option for you. Another issue is schools. Now, if you're putting your kids into a public school, it's kind of debatable of which public school is really best. Honestly, if you're going to be in a public school system, I would say probably neither Portland or Newberg is the best. Neither place has the best school system publicly. Not that all the Portland schools or all the Newberg public schools are really bad, but if you're looking purely at test scores, neither score is the best. However, there are really good private schools here in Newberg. There's also a really strong homeschooling community. So if you're wanting to go the private school route or the homeschooling route, Newberg actually might be a great option because it's very open and welcoming for people who are wanting to do that. One of the other great gems I'll quickly mention about Newberg is that it has George Fox University and Portland Community College right here in town. And what that does is it pumps out a lot of young professional people who have a lot of energy and excitement about the town. So the town continually has a growing energy, and there's a lot of people coming right into the workforce that are making this a growing, vibrant community. So what do you think? Newberg versus Portland? Obviously, there are a lot of opinions out there. I would love to hear your thoughts of maybe why you prefer one over the other. If you live in Newberg or you're thinking of moving to Newberg, why is Newberg better than Portland? Well, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And if you're interested in moving to Newberg, I have a whole separate video where I go basically a whole walkthrough around the town, sharing what it's like actually living here. So you can check that video out as well. I look forward to seeing your thoughts in the comment section. Make sure if you like this video to give it a thumbs up. I appreciate that. And it makes more people learn about this video and others like it. Well, thank you so much, and I'll catch you in that next video.